This is why things suddenly feel distant. Not because you imagined it, not because you changed overnight, but because someone near you crossed a spiritual line and heaven quietly stepped in to separate you. Chosen one, if you feel a strange stillness around relationships that once felt familiar, this moment was not random. You didn't find this message. This message found you, right on time. There has been a heaviness you couldn't name, a subtle grief without a clear cause, conversations that feel thinner, energy that no longer meets you where it used to. And deep down, you've been asking yourself in the quiet, why does this feel different now? You sensed something before you understood it. Your spirit noticed before your mind could explain. That's because you were never meant to stay unaware for long. Chosen one, you've survived unseen battles, smiles that hid exhaustion, loyalty that cost you more than it should have. You gave the benefit of the doubt when your spirit was already raising questions. You prayed for clarity while still protecting people who were secretly being tested around you. And while you were focused on endurance, heaven was focused on exposure. What you called confusion was actually discernment awakening. This was not betrayal by accident, it was revelation by design. Someone close failed a test they didn't know they were taking, and you didn't know you were watching. Light doesn't accuse loudly, it simply reveals. And when truth shows up, distance becomes protection, not loss. Heaven does not remove people to punish you. It removes them to preserve what's been anointed within you. And chosen one, before we go deeper, pause for a moment, hit subscribe, and comment, I received this, if your spirit is already responding. Because this message is not entertainment, it is alignment. A spiritual step into awareness, timing, and truth. You were never meant to chase clarity. It was always going to meet you. The silence you feel is not abandonment. It's divine separation, making room for what can truly walk with you into your next season. What's coming next will explain everything. Stay with me. A hidden truth is about to be revealed. Chosen one, something about you has changed, and not in a loud way, not in a way that needed announcements or explanations. It shifted quietly like weight settling into your spirit. Your presence carries substance now. When you enter a room, when you speak, when you listen, there is a gravity that didn't exist before. What once felt like simple connection has become sacred access, and access to you is no longer casual. Have you noticed how not everyone feels comfortable around you anymore, even when you haven't done anything wrong? This is because God is shaping something within you that cannot be handled without integrity. Light doesn't need to accuse, it simply reveals. And when people come close to you now, they are not just encountering your personality, they are encountering your alignment. Your peace confronts chaos. Your clarity exposes confusion. Your stillness unsettles those who thrive in disorder. And without you saying a word, something in them realizes, I can't hide here anymore. Chosen one, this is not about perfection. Heaven is not demanding flawlessness from those around you. It's asking for honesty, alignment, clean hands, and sincere intentions. Integrity has become the quiet entry requirement to walk close to you now. That's why some people suddenly seem irritated by your boundaries. That's why others pull away without explanation. They are not rejecting you. They are responding to the light you carry, a light that now asks something of them. Have you felt it? That subtle shift where conversations no longer flow the same way? Where certain jokes don't land anymore? Where emotional closeness feels forced instead of natural? This isn't distance created by pride or superiority. This is separation caused by misalignment. Your spirit has matured to a place where it cannot pretend anymore, and pretending was the glue holding some connections together. God is protecting you by raising the standard around you, not outwardly, inwardly. The kind of standard that doesn't need rules or ultimatums. People either rise to meet it or quietly step away. And chosen one, if someone becomes defensive around your growth, uncomfortable around your peace, or distant around your truth, it's not because you become too much. It's because integrity is asking them to become more. Ask yourself gently, who feels safe around your light and who feels threatened by it? Who celebrates your growth without competition and who grows quieter as you grow clearer? These questions are not meant to judge. They are meant to reveal. Discernment doesn't shout, it listens. And right now your spirit is listening very closely. This is a sacred season of refinement. God is teaching you that access to you is valuable, that your energy is holy ground, that not everyone who once walked with you is meant to walk where you're going next. And that's not loss, it's alignment. You are not being isolated, you are being preserved. So let the discomfort do its work. Let the distance speak. Let integrity sort what conversation never could. Because from this point forward, chosen one, only what can stand in truth will be able to stand beside you. And as this unfolds, you'll begin to see clearly why this shift was not painful by accident, but necessary by design. Chosen one, not every test comes with instructions. Some arrive quietly, woven into ordinary days, hidden inside small moments that seem insignificant at first. There was no announcement, no warning, no dramatic setup. Just life unfolding. Conversations, reactions, silences, choices. And while you were focused on surviving, healing, and staying kind, heaven was observing something else entirely. How the people around you handled your becoming. You didn't know it at the time, but your vulnerability became the testing ground. The way you trusted, the way you opened your heart even when you were tired, the way you kept showing up with sincerity while you were still wounded. Some people treated that softness with care. Others took it lightly, and without realizing it, they revealed what was inside them. How someone treats you when you are growing but not yet shining tells heaven everything it needs to know. Chosen one, this test was never about loyalty in words. It was about posture and spirit. Who protected your name when you weren't present? Who honored your process without rushing it? Who celebrated your growth instead of competing with it? These were not dramatic crossroads. They were quiet intersections of intention. And in those moments, character spoke louder than affection ever could. Have you noticed how some people seem supportive until your clarity increased? How others were comfortable with you when you were uncertain, but uneasy when you began to stand firmer in your truth? That wasn't coincidence. That was exposure. Light does not argue, it reveals. And when your calling began to rise, it stirred something in those around you. Admiration in some, resistance in others. Heaven was watching how they responded to your boundaries, how they handled your no, how they treated you when you stopped over-explaining. This is where many failed the test, not through cruelty, but through subtle selfishness, through silence when you needed support, through jealousy masked as concern, through entitlement disguised as closeness. Chosen one, some passed without applause. They remained consistent, gentle, respectful. Their presence felt safe even as you changed. Others failed without realizing it was happening because they were more attached to who you used to be than who you were becoming. And God, in His mercy, allowed the truth to reveal itself without confrontation. Ask yourself now, who honored your growth without trying to control it? Who remained steady even when you stopped shrinking? Who didn't require you to be less in order to feel comfortable? These questions are not meant to reopen wounds. They are meant to bring clarity. This test was never meant to shame anyone. It was meant to sort, to align, to protect. And as difficult as it feels, chosen one, be grateful you didn't have to confront what heaven already handled. What was revealed was necessary. What was removed was intentional. And what remains is what can walk with you into the next season without failing the same test again. Take a breath. You didn't lose people by accident. You witnessed truth in real time. And now, with eyes open and spirit sharpened, you can move forward knowing that what stays with you from here on has already been refined by divine awareness. Chosen one, not every ending arrives with raised voices or broken doors. Some endings come quietly, wrapped in mercy. God does not always remove people through confrontation, because confrontation would require you to carry a burden you were never meant to hold. Instead, He changes the atmosphere. He lets the air shift. He allows what once flowed naturally to slow, soften, and eventually drift apart without force. Have you felt that gentle pulling away that you couldn't explain, even though nothing went wrong? This is how divine protection often works. Conversations that once felt effortless begin to feel strained. Messages go unanswered, not out of cruelty, but out of misalignment. The emotional access someone once had to you starts to fade, not because you closed your heart, but because God quietly guarded it. And in that space, you may have wondered, did I do something wrong? Should I fix this? But chosen one, not everything that ends needs to be repaired. God removes without confrontation because he understands your heart. He knows you would over-explain. You would self-blame. You would try to rescue what was already out of season. So instead of asking you to fight, he asks you to rest. He allows distance to do what arguments never could, create clarity without wounds. Isn't it interesting how some people simply fall out of rhythm with you, even though there was no final conversation? This is divine mercy at work. No explosions, no accusations, no dramatic exits. Just a quiet separation that protects you from carrying what was never yours to fix. You were never called to heal everyone, correct everyone, or drag people into alignment. Some relationships were meant to end gently, so you could walk forward without bitterness attached to your spirit. Chosen one, God also removes without confrontation to preserve your peace. He knows that closure through explanation is not always true closure. Sometimes closure comes through understanding, through awareness, through realizing that what faded did so because it could not follow you where God is taking you next. And that realization brings peace, not pain. Have you noticed how, once the distance settled, you could breathe again? How the anxiety lifted, even though the absence still felt strange? That's how you know this separation was guided. What God removes, he replaces with clarity, with calm, with a deeper sense of self that no longer feels pulled in too many directions. This is not rejection. This is redirection. God is teaching you that not every goodbye needs to be spoken aloud. Some goodbyes happen in silence, and that silence is holy. It is God saying, I've handled this for you. You don't have to carry it anymore. So let the distance stay. Let the drift complete itself. Don't chase what God has already released. Trust that if something was meant to remain, it would have found alignment with your growth instead of resistance to it. Chosen one, what left quietly was not strong enough to walk with you boldly into what's next. And what remains will meet you there in peace, not tension. Rest in that knowing you were not abandoned, you were protected. And this gentle removal was not an ending, it was preparation. Chosen one, before anything changed on the outside, something shifted within you first. It was subtle, easy to dismiss, a quiet hesitation in your spirit, a pause where there used to be ease, a tiredness that showed up only around certain people, certain conversations, certain environments. You tried to reason it away. You told yourself you were overthinking. But that uneasiness wasn't fear, it was foresight. Your discernment spoke before events did. Your soul recognized what your mind wasn't ready to accept yet. This is how God protects his chosen ones. He doesn't always shout warnings. He whispers them. He sends signals through feeling, through energy, through that inner knowing you can't fully explain, but also can't ignore. Have you noticed how your body reacted before your thoughts caught up? How your spirit pulled back before your logic had a reason? Chosen one, you sense the shift because you are spiritually sensitive. Not weak, not anxious, not imagining things. Sensitive in the way a watchman senses movement before sound. Sensitive in the way light notices shadow instantly. God speaks to you through discernment because you've learned to listen without needing proof. That sudden heaviness around someone you once trusted wasn't judgment. It was information. That pause in your spirit was heaven saying, pay attention. That loss of excitement was God gently removing emotional attachment before truth arrived. And that tiredness, that wasn't exhaustion, it was resistance. Your spirit was already stepping away from what no longer aligned, even while your heart was still catching up. Isn't it powerful to realize that God was already leading you out before you knew you needed to leave? Chosen one, God always warns softly first. He doesn't shock his chosen ones unless necessary. He prepares them. He creates distance internally before separation happens externally. That way, when the shift finally occurs, it doesn't destroy you. It confirms what you already sensed. What felt confusing at first now begins to make sense, doesn't it? Think back. When did you first feel the energy change? When did laughter feel forced? When did you stop feeling safe to fully be yourself? These moments weren't random. They were markers, gentle signals placed along your path to keep you from blaming yourself later. God wanted you to know you didn't miss anything. You were already aware. This is why you couldn't fully relax anymore. Why your spirit stayed alert even when things looked fine on the surface. Discernment doesn't wait for evidence. It moves ahead of it. And now looking back, you can see how accurate your spirit was all along. What once felt like uncertainty now reveals itself as divine intelligence. Chosen one, trust this part of you. This awareness is increasing, not fading. God is sharpening your discernment so you no longer have to learn lessons the hard way. From now on, you'll recognize shifts earlier. You'll feel misalignment faster. You'll honor those inner pauses instead of questioning them. And when God gives you that quiet knowing, you won't talk yourself out of it. Ask yourself now, what did your spirit know months ago that your mind is only understanding today? Where did God already prepare you before the truth arrived? Let those answers rise gently. They are not here to bring regret. They are here to bring confidence. You are not late. You are not confused. You are not behind. You are becoming more aware. And this sensitivity you carry is not a burden. It is protection. God trusted you with the warning because He trusts you with what comes next. Chosen one, when someone steps away from your life, it often feels like a void, an ache in the spaces they once filled. You may find yourself staring at the silence, wondering why the warmth has dissipated, questioning whether God has abandoned you in this moment of loss. But the truth whispered softly by heaven itself is that this absence is not emptiness. It is protection. What you perceive as loss is actually the gentle hand of divine care reshaping your surroundings, removing what could no longer coexist with the destiny God is unfolding within you. Have you noticed how, after someone leaves, the atmosphere around you changes? There's a subtle lightness, a softness that wasn't there before. Confusion begins to lift, and clarity slowly settles in like the dawn over a darkened valley. God's timing is precise. He doesn't remove what you need. Instead, He clears what threatens your peace, replacing it with something far more sustaining. Perhaps it is rest that comes unbidden, wrapping your soul in quiet renewal. Perhaps it is solitude that allows your spirit to hear its own heartbeat again, to reconnect with the voice of God without distraction. Or perhaps it is a boundary you didn't know you needed, a spiritual shield that finally lets you breathe without fear of compromise. Do you feel that subtle shift, that gentle easing of tension around your heart? That is God's protection taking root. Loss is never punishment, it is preparation. The spaces left behind are intentional, designed to cradle your spirit and fortify your inner life. And in this sacred emptiness, your discernment sharpens. You begin to see who and what aligns with your purpose, who can walk with you in the light without stumbling in shadow. This is the divine paradox. What feels like a void is actually armor for your soul. Chosen one, lean into this truth. Trust that what God removed was never meant to stay, and that every separation carries a hidden blessing. Your heart may ache, but it is being shaped to hold greater love, deeper peace, and clearer insight. And as you step forward, you will discover that what remains is not just absence, it is a sanctuary, a space where God's protection lives, a buffer against compromise and a foundation for the next season of your destiny. So when the shadow of loss touches your life, do not resist it, allow it. Breathe it in, and recognize the divine hand that rearranges your world for your highest good. Every exit is a prelude to entrance. Every ending, a preparation for a more sacred beginning. And chosen one, before we move to the next revelation, pause for a moment, hit subscribe, and comment, "I received this," if your spirit is already responding, because this message is about to deepen, and your soul will recognize the next truth as if it was always meant for you. Chosen one, this is your awakening. The turbulence you've faced, the separations that once felt unbearable, the quiet ache of loss, they have not been in vain. Every moment of confusion, every unexpected departure, every subtle warning from your spirit, has been training ground for a sharper, deeper, and more refined sense of discernment. From here on, your soul is entering a season where understanding will arrive before words are spoken, and truth will reveal itself without you having to chase it. This is not intuition alone. It is divine calibration, a tuning of your spirit to the frequencies of heaven itself. Do you feel it yet? That quiet awareness that stirs before conflict even arises, that pause in your chest when something is not aligned, even if your mind wants to rationalize it away, that is discernment whispering to you. It is no longer fear or suspicion. It is a knowing so soft, yet so precise, that it cannot be ignored. The energy of people, the undercurrent of conversations, the hidden motives that once escaped your attention, they will now unfold before your eyes with crystal clarity. God is sharpening you, chosen one, and this sharpening is a gift that will protect you, guide you, and keep your spirit aligned with the path you were born to walk. Imagine a life where you no longer repeat the same mistakes, where the lessons you've learned are not just memories, but living tools that shape every decision, every relationship, every step forward. This is what discernment offers, not judgment, not paranoia, but a profound clarity that keeps your heart safe while allowing love, connection, and opportunities to flow freely. You will recognize integrity when it stands before you, and you will perceive deception before it tries to take root. You will feel alignment not only in words, but in the spaces between words, in the silences, in the subtle energies that most overlook. Chosen one, this is your moment to embrace the gift fully. Every shift you've sensed, every door that closed, every person who failed the test, they were all instruments in the orchestration of your spiritual senses. And now you will move forward with a quiet confidence, knowing that the Spirit has equipped you to navigate life with a clarity and wisdom that honors your calling. Do not fear the growth. Do not resist the heightened awareness. Instead, celebrate it, cultivate it, and step boldly into this new rhythm where discernment is your language and your guide. As you journey onward, notice the subtle miracles in daily life. Feel the alignment in your interactions, the gentle nudges of God steering you toward truth, the unmistakable peace that replaces doubt. Your discernment will not only protect you, it will illuminate your path, deepen your relationships, and strengthen your connection to your divine purpose. And chosen one, before we conclude, pause for a moment. Hit subscribe and comment, "I received this," if your spirit is stirring. Because the truths revealed here are not just lessons, they are keys unlocking the next season of your destiny.